All right, you freedom-loving boys and girls, Mark Centerline Systems. Hey, we're going to do a video regarding how to order from the website. And it's not as stupid as that may have just sounded. I think in the last 2 months, I've had probably 3 or 4 people who've reached out to me and like, hey, I don't know what the binding tape is or what are herb loops. So when I say how to order, it's really what does every little thing on the website mean, right? Because look, we've all ordered pizza, a million times in our life. It's simple, sausage, pepperoni, black olives, green peppers, whatever your thing is, you've said it a million times, right? That's simple. But if you don't know what a herb loop is, or you're not sure about a Velcro patch panel or snap caps or binding tape, look, we don't know what we don't know, and you got to start someplace. So that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to share a screen, kind of show you the website. I got a couple products in front of me, and we're going to go over that. But before I do, I got to share a little joke here. Let me just see if I can do this. Yeah, here we go. There we go. So I just had, and I just got to throw this out there. All right, there's that. You can already pick up what I'm putting down. Yeah, yeah. And there's me from there we go. So yes, I just had hip surgery last week, and I'm here to tell you I'm so looking forward to this upcoming spring. Finally be able to run around, do things again. So I'm pretty excited about it. And on that note, I've already had a whole bunch of my friends giving me shit, old man, and that little mean thing about, hey, let's form a band called the Hip Replacements. People give me that kind of smart assery. And I love smart assery. So here's what I'm going to do, right? And because Christmas is right around the corner. Leave me a comment. And whoever gives me, don't be crude, but a good, funny joke, a little bit of shit talking, giving me a hard time. Whoever gives me the best hard time thing that makes me laugh or chuckle the best, I'm going to reach out to you and we're going to work out a deal. I'm going to give you a free piece of something, some kind of gear, just for some smart assery, right? So that all being said, now let's jump into the video. And when I did this is actually the second time. We shot it once. I'm still kind of getting used to some aspects of the software I never used. So we're going to shoot it a second time. Hopefully this will go a little bit smoother. And so what I did before is I'm going to start off like I did before, and I'm just going to show you the website real quickly. And there we go, right there. All right, so I'm going to, and I should be able to scroll down when I'm doing this. Yeah, I think this will still scroll down as I do it. All right, so here you go. I don't know why that's not. Oh, there we go. Come back to this. And see, I'm still learning, like I said, still learning a little bit of the software. Yeah, we'll just go right here. I think this should work. And I apologize if it doesn't, but right here you can see that's the main website, right? And the vast majority of our product pages have that as the main picture on the product page right now for exactly these reasons. So you can see a picture of your piece of gear with all of with arrows going to, well, this is what binding tape is. This is what plastics are. That's how this works. So that is what we're trying to do on the website. Now, let me see. Now, I can't see this, so hopefully this is working. But as you go down, right, so as you look at the picture, and then as you go down the website, it matches that, right? So the very first thing is the Kadura, right? Well, that's the body of whatever the product is. That's the main body. The webbing, well, that's the webbing that you might see on the outside of the product. And I'm going to bring a product out here in a second, and we'll do this again with just me and you without the website, and we'll review it one more time. But as you go down the website, that's everything you're going to see. The shoulder strap, there's a bunch of different lengths. Matter of fact, I'm going to shoot another video here in a second about the shoulder straps because we've got a new length shoulder strap, and there's a reason for that. Then we're going to talk about the loops versus the elastic loops because there's 2 different things. Because any one of our products that comes with a shoulder strap, the default option is the 1-inch regular loops. If you want the elastic loops for shotgun shells, that's an add-on, right? That's the custom part of it. Binding tape, that's that opening. Again, I'll show you where it is. That's really good material. It's really rugged. It's 1 inch and it folds over. It basically, wherever there could be a raw edge, we put binding tape over it so there's no raw edges, so threads don't get caught. They don't start pulling apart. Gives another little splash of colors. And we've got a bunch of different colors in the binding tape. Logo, same thing, self-explanatory. It's our logo, right? Plastics, those are the buckles, right, on the outside. And I know that sounds stupid, but there's some people who said, hey, what are the plastics, right? So, again, you don't know what you don't know. Thread option, you know, pretty obvious, but we'll go over this. Velcro patch panel, that's another option. I'll go over that in a second. Herb loops, I've had a bunch of people who weren't 100% sure what herb loops were. Go over that. And then the snap caps, all right? So that's the website, and that's pretty much how I run most of our products. If our product has any of those options or availability, that's what you'll see in your options, your pull down menus when you go to place your order. Now on the website, there is a tab called custom options. So if you have, let me just remove this. Let me just, sorry, go over here. If you have a question, you're like, oh, I wonder what this color webbing would look like on this color Kadura. There is a tab called custom options where I've taken pretty much every one of our colorways, and I've taken every one of our webbing colorways and I've sewn them together. So it gives you a perspective. If it's not enough of a perspective, go to our Instagram and just kind of scroll through, because I usually take, you know, pictures of all these different color combos, giving everybody an opportunity to see that, because heck, there's a ton of you guys who just have done some really cool, like, oh, I didn't even think about that color option. So keep an eye there. And if you don't see it there, or if you don't see it in that custom options tab, give me a call, because I can always, you know, put some webbing on top of some material, take a picture, send it to you, you know, this, that, or the other. But now we're going to kind of do the website thing, but I'm just going to do it with me and you and a couple pieces of gear. So I got Spoon behind the camera. He's going to do a little Spoon zoom. So we're going to start off with the shoulder strap though, right? So every one of our products that has a shoulder strap, the default is the shoulder strap. And then on top of the 1.5 inch webbing, right? That's between the reducers. These are plastics, right? But in between the reducers, this webbing is 1.5 inches. But on top of that, we sew these 1 inch loops, right? That's the default option. Now, what we do, and I talk to everybody, so like you will hear from me during this process, because, you know, people make mistakes. I meant to do multicam classic and I selected multicam black. I want this is your product. This is your project. I want it to be as unique as your fingerprint. I want to make it the way you want it to be. But if I'm unable to get in touch with you, or for whatever reasons, just letting you know, this color, this 1 inch loop matches, we do a mirror image of what the body looks like. So this is Ranger Green Kadura with Coyote Brown webbing. Up on the shoulder strap, it's the exact opposite. It's Coyote Brown webbing, and then that 1 inch loop is Ranger Green. So it kind of mirrors what the body of the product will look like, right? But this 1 inch webbing up here, hell, if it's a color that we have, I could have put gray, black, camouflage, whatever the case is, right? So if you got a question, give me a holler, but that's what that's all about. The 1 inch elastic loops so this comes with it naturally. You still have an option, because you can pick if you want that color to be different, but that's how we do it. But the elastic, we only have a few colorways in the elastic for the shotgun shells, and that is a custom add-on, right? So it should be pretty self-explanatory. Then now here's the product itself. So you can see Ranger Green is the body. I got it, Spoon. Ranger Green is the body, and Coyote Brown is the webbing, right? But then here on the top at this opening, right? Here, actually, why don't you go ahead and zoom in while I get this? Yep, there we go. There. That opening at the top of the carrier, right? All of this material here, that is the binding tape I just mentioned. And you can see there's an interior rear slip pocket on the mother. That's got binding tape on it as well. So you can see if you did that in a red or a yellow or some other color, that would add different splashes to your product and give it a different colorway, a different unique look to it, right? So that's the binding tape. Then we got the Kadura. Now I said this last time, I'm going to say it again. Now we're custom made, right? And for me, it doesn't matter if you want this to be that color or the thread to be this color. I don't upcharge for any of that. The only difference you see in the charges is the bare bones minimum. Hey, here's what it costs. If you want me to put the elastic on there, here's your upcharge. And that's exactly what the difference is for me, not for profit, but my cost. So I'm not losing money. It's the same with the camouflage. Here's the product. Oh, you want that in camo? Oh, there's a $10 or an $8 or a $2, whatever the upcharge is. That's the difference between this and then the camouflage version, or the regular 1 inch loops and then the elastic loops. That's why you see those upcharges, because look, I just can't give it away. I mean, like I could be losing $15, $20 on every product. But the one thing I'm not going to do, so what I'm trying to say is it's custom. I don't care what color thread and plastics, but what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do these loops up on top are black, these loops in the middle are yellow, and these loops on the bottom are wolf gray or what. Don't even ask me that. That's just too much BS right there. That's too much back and forth. Or, hey, I want this sewn in this color thread and this sewn in this color thread. Actually, I'm going to check myself again. I will do that for you. You won't want to pay what you would have to pay for all of those thread changes and all that manipulation. So just, you kind of get the point. I'm having a little bit of fun, but you get to pick and choose a lot of options. So now going down the body, and I just removed the bikini strap. What I don't have on this one is one of the options across the front, and it resides in a couple different locations on a couple different products, but you'll see a piece of Velcro that can go here. It's a custom option. It's a Velcro patch panel. Maybe you want to put your name tape there, or, you know, a fire starting patch or whatever patch you want to put. That's an option. And we've got a couple different options or colorways in Velcro, real Velcro brand Velcro, hook and loop, that you can put there. Logo, same thing. We got a couple different options and logos. Threads, I'll show you on this other product where the thread shows out a little bit better. Plastics. Now this is kind of sounds silly, but it's not. So you can see there's plastics, right? These are the buckles. A lot of people don't know that. Look, these are ITW Nexus buckles, awesome buckles, best ones out there. And, but we could have done that. If you wanted this to be all Ranger Green, Coyote Brown, but you wanted these to be black, yeah, no harm, no foul, right? We can do that, right? And you've got the ability on the website to make those decisions, but I'm going to call you and go over this before I even start cutting the material or cutting the webbing and bringing the materials together before we even start sewing. I'm going to touch base with you and talk about that to make sure we're making this as unique as your fingerprint. Now, hopefully this will show up, and Spoon, you might have to zoom. Another custom option are these loops on the bottom. They're called herb loops. That should show up. You can see them. There's one right here. Oh, actually, here we go. That's a herb loop right there. So I got a piece of shock cord through it, so hopefully you see it a little bit better. Herb loop, and then over on this side, another herb loop. Well, so that was a customer who wanted a custom design. He wanted to have 2 additional loops on the very bottom of the carrier, so he would be able to have just one more connection point, just even that much farther to the outside of the platform itself. His name is Herb Loops, and they seem to be pretty popular. A lot of you guys like them, but that's what the herb loop is if you're not sure. It's just a better to have and not need than need and not have. Gives you additional tie down points. If you're putting a big tarp or something there, it just gives you a little bit more security, a little bit farther to the outside of the product. You know, otherwise the tie downs are right there in the bottom, right? And then last but not least, going over this, and then, yeah, you might have to zoom in here a little bit. The snaps, right? So you'll see those are called the snap caps. Now these ones are Ranger Green. So we use pull the dot fasteners, right? Best snaps out there, right? They normally come anodized black, but we work with our friends over at Fog Firearms. We Cerakote them, and we've got a couple different color schemes. That's an add-on if you want it to, if you want that, right? But it just adds a little splash of color. Now that's Ranger Green on Coyote Brown. You could have done that in orange or red, or just go with the standard black. All right, and then one last little product just to show you what we're talking about here, because I think it'll really stand out. So this is one of our gap pouches. So this is multicam black. And now I think you can really see the difference the thread can make on some of your products, right? So if you got a question about that and it doesn't quite show up, you know, feel free to give me a call, but that's showing up really good. I can see it in the monitor. So you can see just by adding a little bit of red to some of these guys, it adds a really nice little splash of color, right? So again, that's how you can make this unique. You make it, you know, as unique as your fingerprint. It's your project. It doesn't matter to me, right? We're going to sew it one way or the other. Now, the one thing I will say about this, because I've had 2 people do it already, and I don't think it's quite as intuitive on the website as well. But so on, because some of our products, it's going to come with Velcro, period, right? But you can still, so it doesn't really give you an option. But if you want to tweak it and mix it up, we can do that. So I've had a couple people who wanted their gap pouches, but they wanted the Velcro up on the top and the Velcro here in the front. They wanted those a slightly different color. Like, so imagine if this was, here, zoom in a little bit. So this is the 1-inch Velcro across the front of a gap pouch. There you go, right? It's got little loops in there for tie downs and securing items. But maybe you wanted that in Coyote Brown, just so you get a little different splash of color, or maybe you wanted that Ranger Green, so it stands out a little bit, right? So you see how the thread makes that stand out a little bit? But if that was a slightly different color Velcro, that would also stand out a little bit more. And maybe it would be just a little bit easier for you to visualize, oh, there it is. That's where I'm going to put my D-ring or my carabiner. All right. I think I kind of covered it. Yeah, pretty much, what we were looking to do last time. But I think, again, I'm still having a little bit, there's some things on this software that I'm still just getting a little used to and trying to figure out and trying to have a little bit of fun. It's Thanksgiving. Well, today is Tuesday, the 21st. Thanksgiving is just a couple days away. So if you got, I'm not sure when this is probably going to publish. It'll probably publish the weekend after Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's probably when this is going to go. But if you ever have questions, comments, you know the deal, reach out to me anytime. I'll do the best I can to help you out. In the meantime, it's handcrafted, custom-made gear. Here, matter of fact, I was a little premature on my outro because I didn't say it this time, did I? Yep. So here we go. Look, I'm going to give a plug for myself because, damn it, I should have been plugging this from day one because I'm really proud of this. Our gear is indeed handcrafted, and it's handcrafted, and you've probably seen my videos. I've got a rule of 3. The material has to be made in America. There's the first starting point. Then the next tier is where and whenever possible, it has to be mil spec. Some material that we use made in America, like Kadura, for example, I use a wolf gray Kadura. It's made in America, but it doesn't qualify as mil spec because it's like one shade of gray different from what the mil spec is. And I went down that road because it was getting very difficult for me, the little guy, to get the mil spec gray, because obviously there's not a lot of it. The mills that make this stuff, they're doing it for the guys who are making very specific stuff for military use in the mil spec. So what was easier for me, where I'd have the reliability is like, well, there's wolf gray. It's still Kadura brand Kadura 500 a year, still made in America. It's like one shade of gray lower than the mil spec. And I'm here to tell you, I'd bet people like, $1. I was going to say $100, but I'll just say $1. If I put the two things up here in the monitor, 90% of people wouldn't be able to see the slight gradient difference in the shade. But that's it right there. So it's got to be made in America. It's got to be mil spec. And if it can't be one of those things, then it has to be Berry compliant, right? The Berry Amendment, it's a real thing. It gives us the ability to use products made overseas in our military hardware because it meets a certain qualification, or there's no American company that makes it. So this is also another very rigorous standard. And for us, we use the Austria Alpine Cobra buckle for our belts. We've actually used some of them in some of our mothers and scouts. Again, look at our Instagram and some of our previous videos. We've thrown some 1-inch buckles on there, very custom. So if that's something you're interested in doing, reach out. We can work with you and do that as well. As a matter of fact, just on that note, so here's what custom is again. So some of the people who've done that with the Cobra buckles wanted their Cobra buckles Cerakoted to match what the normal ITW Nexus buckle would have been. Okay, well, we work with our friends over at Fog Firearms. I get the buckles, we get them Cerakoted. And I'm not there to make profit. I'm there to try to make you happy. So, hey, it costs $20 to Cerakote that. Here's $20. Here's the buckles, So see some of those pictures. So we're a custom-made, handcrafted, made in America shop. Nothing's on the shelf. Nothing's like a shelf with crap made over in China or whatever the case is, right? I'm not even going to go down this road nitpicking that stuff. You do you. You want to buy something for $40 from a big box store that makes all their stuff in China? I'm here to tell you that thing for $40 probably cost them $5 to make. You figure it out for yourself. What does that tell you? I love it when people are like, oh, your gear's so expensive. I'm like, if this was Shark Tank and you had to see how much it cost me to make this versus what I'm selling for, you wouldn't be saying that anymore. So you keep buying that cheap ass $40 thing where that company's still making 600% profits. You do you. I'm going to do the handcrafted, made in America, from no joke, American made, mil spec, very compliant materials. Because if I'm going out in the woods, and heaven help that there ever was a day where my life really, if I needed to rely on my gear, I want that peace of mind knowing that that's a piece of gear that isn't going to fall apart. And, they say pictures are worth 1,000 words. I'm here to tell you, I don't think that's even true. My last little point of, whatever bravado here. You see the pictures, you see the reviews, you got a buddy, but until you get this in your hand, once you get this in your hand, you're like, holy shit, this stuff is bomb-proof. I literally could go and start fighting Sasquatch with this thing or a grizzly bear. I do not recommend that. That was a joke. All right. Do not go and try to pick a fight with Sasquatch just because you got a mother canteen carry. But you see where I'm getting at, having a little bit of fun, kind of drawing this out. We're almost at 20 minutes. But that's my little thing. You do you. This is what we do. Handcrafted, custom made. And by custom made, it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is what matters to you. So I'll be talking to you. You've got the options on the website. If you're unclear about anything, reach out to me. Text message, cell phone, email. I'm not going to lie. I'm not really good on the DMs on social media. And with everything going on in social media recently, I'm not even sure what the future of social media for us is, you know, on Instagram and all that kind of crap, but I'll save that for another video. All right. Good enough. We covered that stuff. By good enough, I don't want to get into the social media thing. I really, really, really want to talk about social media, but I think I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. Okay. All right. Roger Dodger. All right, everybody, if you ever got questions, comments, you know the deal. Reach out anytime. I'll do the best I can to help you out. Until then, keep thinking, keep moving, never quit. All right, everybody, be good. Woo!